Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. My name is Patty Campson. I am on the board of the NCGR, the Sacramento chapter, and our chapter is putting on this presentation. So I want to introduce you to our wonderful presenter, Julia Bellas, who is a pioneering voice in the field of galactic astrology and soul evolution. Julia is the founder of the Galactic Astrology Soul Reading modality, and her work bridges the ancient with the cosmic, helping us understand how the wisdom of past civilizations echo through our present lives. In this presentation, Julia will be guiding us through the ways selected asteroids can validate resurfacing soul memories of ancient civilizations, offering us new perspectives on how these cosmic markers help us navigate emotions, challenges, and opportunities for growth. With her case studies and insights, she will illuminate how echoes from our collective past spiral forward, shaping our evolution to this incarnation. So, with that said, Julia, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Patty, and thank you to NCGR for hosting this event and for inviting me to share the latest research. I'm very grateful to be here. The objective of this webinar, of this presentation, is for me to demonstrate how selected asteroids may validate resurfacing soul memories of ancient civilizations and how they may be affecting our current life. Tracking the transits also of asteroids can help us better understand and navigate resurfacing deep emotions, challenging situations, and opportunities to reach our greater potential in this incarnation. The presentation will cover case studies of people with strong ties to Lemuria, Atlantis, and ancient Egypt. Natal and transit horoscopes of individuals who consciously retrieved soul memories of ancient civilizations, either through past life hypnosis regression or through vivid dreams, in deep meditation, or by simply spontaneously recalling a story that they feel is connected to any of these ancient civilizations. And typically it occurs, that spontaneous recall, during a transit. So I'll demonstrate all that. But first, for anyone who is not familiar with me and my work, I want to share how it all started. During 7 years of me facilitating past life regression sessions and soul records reading for my clients, I gathered their astrological data. After their session, I would take time to explore the stories that came through, and I was looking for validation or some tangible proof to stories that they shared or what I discovered in soul records. And indeed, over time, as I gathered huge amount of data, I started noticing patterns. I eventually shared my excitement about what I was finding with my community, and the community grew over the years. And I am grateful to the people that I seem to magnetize towards me, who carry deep ancient soul wisdom. The community is rich in stories of memories of these ancient civilizations. So I am blessed to be able to continually explore chart after chart after chart, and experiencing the validation after validation, truly showing that it almost feels like infinite quantum records of our soul memory inside our birth chart. Several months ago, I created a page on my website on juliabalaz.com/research, where I invited a greater public to submit their story. So I called out to anyone who feels they have a soul connection to either ancient Lemuria, Atlantis, or ancient Egypt, to submit their information to me, including their birth details. So I have a huge amount of data now, and it was really difficult for me to pick the best stories, best charts for this presentation. I'm aware or conscious of how much time I have to share this with you. There's so much more that I could share. So anyway, I did my best to pick the best for you. Before I go further with chart examples, I just want to do a quick recap of the ages. Not everyone is familiar with the ancient civilizations. There are many people who still believe or perceive them just as a myth, and they're not sure if they really existed or not. There are so many different perspectives online, in books, and also in living oral traditions about this civilization. So I'm offering a kind of symbolic timeline based on my research, my experience, my resonance. So please don't take my notes as, I don't know, settled factual history. Just use your discernment, keep what resonates and leave what doesn't. In a linear time frame, Mu, also known as Lemuria, is placed prior to Atlantis. It's remembered as heart-centered stewardship, humans living in perfect harmonic alignment with what I call organic universal templates. As our solar system and the Earth entered denser realities of her evolutionary cycles, Mu remained in its high density, guarding the grounding principles of the original templates, while the rest of the world moved into denser expression and evolution through challenges. So for those that continue to descend, it appears as if Lemuria simply vanished, but many believe through soul resonance that it's still here, just in higher densities. So then the era of Atlantis came, spanned thousands of years, all about innovation, spiritual technologies, interstellar connections, crystal and sonic grid work, alongside the classic lesson of right use of power. There are many accounts that point to catastrophic or really difficult ending of Atlantis, and I will mention some of that in some of the examples through the flood, memories of flood. But what I'm learning over time is that the teaching here that we can take out through going through the records of these ancient stories is not about the catastrophe, but more about discernment. How can we leverage our immense potential without losing the heart coherence? It feels like we're returning back to the Lemurian codes that seem to be really coming online stronger and stronger, perhaps triggered by the closer alignment of, or Sedna approaching through her cycle, coming closer to us than in thousands upon thousands of years, and the comets that are swarming the solar system, and many other occurrences that we are experiencing astronomically, astrologically. Then the ancient Egypt and Mesopotamia, in my experience, are deeply influenced by Atlantis. The themes of temples, temple sciences, universal law studies, astronomy, astrology, guardianship of records, that all keeps coming up with ancient Egypt and Mesopotamia. So I'm noticing that in soul memory, these eras, they often interweave, hinting at continuity more than separation. And this seems to be coming online very strongly, this awareness that the cyclical time, we are connecting all that was, is, and will be through our awareness, through our remembrance and integration. So each era truly holds the light and the shadow. Our work isn't to pick a favorite. Many people would often say, oh, I resonate so much more with Lemuria. It's this pure love and graceful presence. And many people reject Atlantis for the downfall of humanity. But if we can take the best from everything, just learn from each era, we listen for the threads that mature us now. So from you, we take the compassion. From Atlantis, we can take the lessons of ethics with power. and ancient Egypt and Mesopotamia, we could take the discipline wisdom. So we learn from both the brilliance and the blind spots and bring that learning into coherent, hard-lit practice. So here's the first case study example. If you're not aware who Keone Hanalei is, if you look up his name on YouTube or online, visit his website, bohala.net, or watch at least one of his interviews. Heather Ensworth, our wonderful astrologer, interviewed him several times. Martha Alter-Heinz, I believe Pam Gregory interviewed him too. I had an interview with him also. Just watch one if you're not familiar with his work, and then come back to this presentation if you have access to the recording, and you will fully see the magic, the cosmic brilliance of divine design that is playing out here. So I'm going to go through his chart, presuming that you know who Keone is and what his teachings are and what he embodies. Okay, so starting with asteroid Hawaii, that was the first excitement that I saw in his chart. It is conjunct Eris and conjunct also star Alpha Cephei, 13-degree Alpha Cephei star is also 13-degree. The reason why I'm mentioning this star is because Keone's lineage traces back 1017 generations. And at that time, at the start of his lineage, star Alpha Cephei was considered or was known as the North Star for his ancestors. So Keone was raised by his grandmother, the elder in his lineage, who taught him the Lemurian doctrines to the point where he started remembering the song of his lineage and the teachings of his lineage through his own body memory. By the age of 5, he started chanting a song that contained the memory of his lineage, and his grandmother recognized that he's ready. He is now able to access the wisdom of ancient new people from inside out. His whole life is a fascinating journey, and right now his teachings are growing in popularity as the energetics of Mu Lemuria are coming online with so many people. So I want to start at the beginning with his ascendant in Scorpio at 28 degrees, with Uranus conjunct at 29 degrees. And I would translate that as a signature of the liberator, one who pierces through illusion and catalyzes awakening through presence alone. Once you hear Keone speak passionately about what he knows is true and organic and important and essential for humanity right now, you will see how this is such a beautiful manifestation of the astrological alignment. So Uranus here also suggests that he is perceived as radical, electric, and transformational, disrupting outdated paradigms through embodiment, not theory. The asteroid Hawaii in Aries in 6th house, conjunct Eris and Alpha Cephei, as I mentioned, brings that revolutionary voice for ancestral wisdom, particularly through daily service, body work, and somatic technology. A month ago, Keone published his book on Hawaiian spinal technology, and he has several online courses, some free and some paid for, in his community with exactly that. So how beautiful to see that reflected in his birth chart. Asteroid Hawaii is trying his north node in Leo in 10th house and sextile south node. So his mission aligns with collective destiny. He bridges ancient wisdom with future timelines. And I think it's fascinating to see the Aquarius south node, Leo north node. With Keone, often his teachings are about reaching the alpha omega point in our evolution. You know, if we are entering the age of Aquarius and feeling or remembering the echoes of the age of Leo, for him to have the lunar nodes flipped, it's just such a powerful manifestation of that. There is quincunx to his moon in Scorpio in 1st house. So to me, this tension reflects his soul navigating deep emotional alchemy, right? Scorpio moon, while carrying disruptive truth codes from you with that Aries in Aries. The moon in first house give him the intuitive presence that mirrors others' emotional truths back to them. The conjunct Pluto and Arcturus connection in 12th house in Libra. I was also amazed to see that. In my experience with galactic astrology, the outer planets conjunct a star talk about the most ancient, most distant soul memories. So for his Pluto conjunct Arcturus, often the Lemurian connections talks about the beings coming from the Arcturus, like the very first extraterrestrial beings, helped to seed humanity and created the energetical grid around the earth that our soul enters upon incarnation and goes through as we cross to the other side. And that Arcturian field is described as this beautiful unconditional love. It feels like returning to source. And also it's about powerful spiritual technology. The Arcturian beings often are reported as assisting with powerful energetical healing as well as spiritual technology. Anyway, so for him, having that in 12th house conjunct Pluto, such a portal to hidden Arcturian codes. This reflects cosmic memory retrieval, not just from Lemuria that he's consciously aware of, but also Arcturus. I think it'll be such a nice surprise for him to find out, if he doesn't know yet, that Arcturus is there for him. So Arcturus and beyond, surfacing through dream and deep subconscious work. Now, that connection is trine Mars and Mercury in Aquarius in 4th house. We are talking about the asteroid Oceania here. And so with that, I would translate that as obviously his message is visionary, precise, and rooted in belonging. He communicates home as frequency, not geography. And also a message of letting go of possessiveness and attachment that started a downward spiral at the end of Mu era and then entered into Atlantis. And Atlantis was a lot, that age of Leo was a lot about attachments and possessions. We wanted to own all the beautiful things. And then the vision started and the fear kicked in and all downward spiral. And we learned a lot. So let's see about any other Lemurian anchors here. Tahiti in Sagittarius, 2nd house, conjunct Neptune, suggests to me spiritual value encoded in earth and land, which he often talks about. He channels abundance through wisdom as his value. Asteroid Bora Bora at 10 degrees of Sagittarius in 2nd house is sextile Jupiter and Saturn, both in Libra in 12th house, and that offers him the ancestral teachers, the support from his lineage, and perhaps another term, how I perceive the invisible spirit guides, kind of harmonic law keepers in the unseen realm are supporting him through the 12th house connection with that Jupiter and Saturn. Okay, and last asteroid here that I wanted to bring up, Rapa Nui, a 24 Capricorn in 3rd house, is square his Pluto in 12th house. And semi-sextile Neptune in Sag, 2nd house, and Mercury Mars in Aquarius in the 4th house. So the square Pluto could indicate the karmic pressure he feels to liberate distorted ancestral power, right? We can translate it as that. And the semi-sextiles reflect subtle activation of speech, movement, and action through encoded language. So there's just so much there, and truly it's amazing to watch him blossom into his full potential and the amount of activation that occurs on a collective for people who are exposed to his teachings. There's also Atlantean codes connection here. but I would just keep going, and I have many more slides to share, so I'll just leave it at that. I would love to do a whole presentation just on Keone's chart and his work. Definitely a stunning example of harmonic transmission doing its magic in the collective through the spirit soul embodiment. He really talks about that many people keep yearning for ascension. We want to return to spirit, but he believes, and it resonates with many people who feel called to drop back into the body and connect to the core of the earth. Like, we want to actually do it the other way around. Spirit wants to be embodied. Earth called us in as lights, as love, to support her in her ascension. And in order to do that, we need to anchor the light into the form, into the body. So he's such a field tuner. Amazing. All right, I hope you enjoyed this one. Let's see next. This lady is called Lori. She's from Falmouth, Massachusetts, USA. And she shared that she always felt discomfort around Atlantean shadow until July 8, 2025. And it was a transit that activated her soul memory through experiencing Arcturian healing online. She was guided to go on YouTube, type something in, and came across this healer that was using Arcturian light language, and she had like powerful emotional experience and sudden soul recall of memory. She remembered being together with 12 to 15 other couples who vowed to help reseed healing light of their Arcturian soul connection across the globe. They knew that they will have to separate and be scattered all over the globe, but eventually they'll find each other and they will support each other's journey where they can fulfill this promise. Let's talk about her birth chart. So in her natal horoscope, asteroid Hawaii is in Leo 9th house, conjunct Uranus in Leo 9th house, sextile Sun in Libra in the 11th house, the collective potential, and the Sun in Libra is conjunct Arcturus, and square to Venus, Scorpio 12th house. So can you see the resemblance of the story that I've shared? She had a memory of being a Arcturian healing code keeper, teacher, 9th house, guide with the liberating, right? The healing energies can act as a liberators, Uranus, Leo, each had to become a leader in their own right as they vowed to fulfill this mission and bringing Arcturian healing to the collective. Sun in Libra, 11th house conjunct Arcturus. And the square to Venus in Scorpio, 12th house, speaks of the pain, in a way, of knowing how long the journey will be, how long the brothers and sisters will be without each other, how long until they see each other again. You know, we're talking about hundreds of thousands of years here. But from the higher dimensional level where soul naturally dwells in, the time is not experienced as it is experienced here on Earth in linear sense. Perhaps that's why we agree to these things. On the other side, we don't really know how long it feels to feel these emotions. Anyway, asteroid Oceania is in Capricorn 2nd house for this lady, conjunct Jupiter in Sag in 1st house. Oceania is also sextile Sun in Libra 11th house and square midheaven in Virgo. So again, talking about the embodiment of these light love codes of Lemuria and aligning them, or kind of bringing them into her mission, the promise she did for the collective, MC and 11th house. Asteroids Tahiti and Rapa Nui in Cancer 8th house, squaring Sun in Libra, and trine Venus in Scorpio in 12th house. So again, just a very similar story repeating. the part of the story where she mentioned that she feels discomfort around Atlantean shadow, what I've seen over and over with people who feel that dissonance with Atlantis, especially the fall of Atlantis, the shadow of Atlantis, these individuals all will have square aspects to Atlantis with their natal planets. So in this particular case, asteroid Atlantis is in Libra 11th house, T-square both Mars in Cancer 5th house and Saturn in Capricorn in 2nd house. She mentioned also in her story that when she experienced this Arcturian healing on the 8th of July 2025, she felt this discomfort around Atlantean timeline dissolving. And she now, for the first time, feels comfortable looking at what happened there, what are the lessons, how to integrate it, and how to move forward in peace and kind of connecting to Atlantean soul memories rather than rejecting them. And would you believe that when she had this recall, July 8, 2025, the asteroid Hawaii was transiting Hawaii, but there was exact planetary transit on either Hawaii or Atlantis when the recall happened. And that was the day when I sent out email for people to submit their stories. So it was just a thread of coincidences and just beautiful synchronicity that helped her believe in what she experienced internally as valid, as real, not just as an imagination. And that's one of the most exciting things for me for continuing to do this work, is that sense of deep validation and clarity that people get, because the element of doubt is very strong when we have been conditioned to dismiss these otherworldly stories as just fantasies. When you see it black and white in a chart, you can't dismiss it. You can't make it up, these alignments. Okay, so this next case study will be about the flood. This person, Xenia from Colorado, she had recurring dreams of tsunami since childhood, from very young age, and eventually got to a point of healing and integration of the Mu timeline, the Atlantean era, and is now a established healer, connecting, working with crystals, light language, using her gifts to serve this planet. So in her chart, asteroid flood at 6 degrees of Aquarius in 3rd house is squaring Uranus and Mars conjunction in Scorpio in 12th house. And I've seen this in every case study with the dreams of tsunami or flood. As I mentioned at the beginning, there's always square to, usually to Uranus, Mars, or Saturn, or Pluto with the asteroid flood. Here we also have Oceania at 10 degrees of Libra in the 11th house, conjunct Pluto in the 12th. And then we have Atlantis at 3 degrees of Virgo, 12th house, sextile North Node in Scorpio in 12th house, trine asteroid Rapa Nui at 3 degrees of Taurus in 6th house, which is conjunct South Node. We have asteroid Mesopotamia and Osiris, lunar nodes and midheaven, all in tight aspects to Atlantis, like within 1 degree. And we have asteroid Horus at 25 degrees of Libra in the 11th house, conjunct the sun and star Arcturus. So again, a theme of soul, likely originating in the very ancient times of Lemuria, with those beautiful Arcturian healing, light, love templates, and then experiencing the Atlantean downfall. And this is usually something that these souls carry very heavily in this incarnation. There is deep resentment, there is deep grief and sadness for the downfall of Atlantis, and only now coming to terms with it, accepting it, realizing the natural cycle that is followed by ascension. And there is an amazing work. The book is called Yuga Shift by Bibhu Dev Misra. Highly recommend it. It just gives you this higher perspective and a deeper sense of peace and acceptance of just natural cycles. So souls that feel that they caused the downfall in Atlantis because they misused their power, they can let go of carrying the whole timeline on their shoulders. Or souls who feel like they didn't do enough to prevent the downfall also can let go of that, because we simply went through a collective resonance, alignment, universal law fulfilled. And how wonderful that now we're at the very beginning of a cycle of remembering, which is why we have so many beautiful, powerful planetary and celestial bodies supporting the awakening of the dormant memories and skills. And here we are being able to heal, integrate, and activate our divine human potential that we are here to embody. All right, next. This is the best AI depiction of my soul memory of my last moment in ancient Atlantis. It came to me in a dream state, and it helped me realize why I always felt this deep sense of just surrender and peace. In a dream, I found myself walking towards what felt like a group workshop. I felt like I was going to meet a group of people that I was teaching the inner emotional mastery, inner work, self-development, self-mastery are the keywords that come to mind. And on my way there, before I saw the blast, I had telepathic message that I feel was sent across the collective that this is the end. And there was just a deep sense of surrender that, there was nothing I could do. The blast came seconds later, and that was it. So I never had, like some people have this heavy emotion around it. I never had that. And sense of surrender is also kind of carried me through in this incarnation. Whenever there's something that I cannot change, I don't fight it. I just surrender, go with it, and then adapt and go with the flow. Anyway, this is my chart. I don't want to get stuck here because I will go on tangent, but seeing the amount of tight conjunctions to the Lemurian asteroids, Egyptian asteroids, Atlantis on my north node, it helped me understand why I keep attracting people with these connections very strong in their own astrology, in their own charts. Throughout the 7 years when I facilitated QHHT sessions, the amount of priestesses that came to me that recalled their soul memories from ancient times was uncanny. And still to this day, in my Galactic Astrology community, the people that are guided to study deeper with me and who start the practitioner journey all have this very rich, potent codes of the ancient wisdom and skills in their charts. So I believe as a result of my very complex natal chart, which if I extend it to fixed stars and supercosmic points, it's just conjunctions after conjunctions, or the astrologers, asteroids. I believe as a result of that, it's very easy for me to recognize these energetics in other people. I seem to just naturally see, feel, sense very clearly what is what in people's energetics, in people's charts. The stories just come, and perhaps it's because I have all that kind of embedded in my consciousness. So we're almost at the end. The conclusions I came to and what surprised me. Before I was going into this research, I knew that if a soul is connected to these ancient civilizations, the markers of them will be in the chart. I knew that. But what I didn't know was that there is this continuation, and that souls that lived in Atlantis also lived in ancient Lemuria. And I had that strong sense for a long time that we have stars walking this earth in human form, that we have the most ancients of the ancients on earth. I said many times, years ago, I used to say, the creme de la creme is walking this earth. The ascended masters are walking this earth. I've met hundreds upon hundreds of people throughout my life who I've always felt and sensed this depth of their soul. And now seeing the astrology, I understand why and what I was sensing. So it's just so amazing. I feel the epic cosmic orchestration of something brilliant that is happening, something that, this planetary ascension process that only souls that hold this complex energetic, they're required to be here to assist in bridging timelines and having this kind of quantum leap in consciousness. And it's happening this way. We have these powerful code keepers that can comprehend this really vast energetics. All right, and what else is the conclusion? That these markers are not to boost our egos or to make us feel special. Quite the opposite. I feel it's an invitation for deeper humility and reverence for divine orchestration, for greater cosmic intelligence, and us playing our part, our authentic expression, playing our unique part, acknowledging it as important yet insignificant on a grand scheme of things. So it's not about boosting egos. It's about taking responsibility and doing what we can in our own authentic way. And as astrologers, I believe we hold an important role as guides to support individual and collective healing and awakening to our full potential as divine humans. And just links to my website. If you would like to experience more webinars of this type, you can go to my Patreon, patreon.com/JuliaBalas, or go to my website and courses. You can gain 20% discount as a professional astrologer if you just email me at info@galacticastrology.com, or go to my YouTube channel, Julia Balas QSG, or my community's Galactic Astrology YouTube channel, where I feature certified Galactic Astrology soul reading practitioners.